Good afternoon, everybody. Rob Robot Shlomo here, wishing he was here with better news. One of my favorite comedians, actor, writer, all around, seemingly decent guy, Norm MacDonald, has left us at the age of 61. And sad news, of course. Norm seemed like a really good guy. I didn't, never met him, but what can you say? He leaves behind a legacy, a long legacy in terms of other SNL greats. And Norm was one of those guys that you were always glad to see. Norm was one of those guys that would show up and you never really got sick of him. Norm MacDonald was and people use the term unique talent way too often, but Norm really was. Norm was a unique talent in the fact that he would step into a role, and even though you knew it was Norm MacDonald, he sold it. Whether it was Burt Reynolds, Bob Dole, Yaphet, whatever it was, you knew it was Norm. You didn't mind him. You didn't mind it one bit. And he appeared as a second banana in films with Adam Sandler, and he was also in his own movie Dirty Work that he wrote, and which co-starred Artie Lang and Jack Warden. But Norm was, he was more than the sum of his parts. He really was. And Norm, he was also a very gifted stand-up comedian as well. Hopefully, and a whole new generation. Actually, we all got to experience Norm on SNL for years, and we all had a good time seeing him on the Orville. And, as soon as we saw him on the Orville, it was instantly Norm MacDonald. And Norm was, again, he was very personable. He seemed very amiable. He would go on Howard Stern in character as Bob Dole. He would go on Howard Stern as himself. And it became sort of a running joke with me when I was on another YouTube channel. They would ask me, who do you want to see play Batman? Who do you want to see play the Iron Man? Who do you want to see play this character? Who do you want to see? And I would just go, oh, yeah, Norm MacDonald. So, yeah, Norm, who do you want to see play this guy? Norm MacDonald. Just Norm. Hey, it's good. I'm Batman. How you doing? Alfred, bring the Batmobile around back. So let me read from the Deadline piece. Norm MacDonald dies. Influential comedian and former SNL Weekend Update anchor, was 61. Norm MacDonald, whose laconic delivery of sharp and incisive observations made him one of Saturday Night Live's most influential and beloved cast members, died today after a 9-year private battle with cancer. He was 61. MacDonald's death was announced to Deadline by his management firm, Brillstein Entertainment. The comedian's longtime producing partner and friend, Laurie Jo Hoekstra, who was with him when he died, said MacDonald had been battling cancer for nearly a decade, but was determined to keep his health struggles private, away from family, friends, and fans. He was most proud of his comedy, Hoekstra said. He never wanted the diagnosis to affect the way the audience or any of his loved ones saw him. Norm was a pure comic. He once wrote that a joke should catch someone by surprise. It should never pander. He certainly never pandered. Norm will be missed terribly. MacDonald was scheduled to be in New York in the New York Comedy Festival lineup in November. MacDonald was an SNL cast member from 93 to 98, making his greatest impact as the anchor of the show's Weekend Update for 3 seasons. Remembered both for his droll style and for his refusal to go easy on O.J. Simpson, despite the reported pressure from NBC execs. MacDonald would prove one of the most impactful Update anchors. Taking a sip of water. Pivoting away from the slapstick approach of Chevy Chase, towards a more barbed and political approach of his successor, Colin Quinn. Pardon me. Born in October 1959 in Quebec City, MacDonald started his show business career in comedy clubs of Canada, developing the deadpan style that would become both his trademark and highly influential touchstone for a generation of comics. A contestant on Star Search in 1990, he landed his first regular TV writing gig on The Dennis Miller Show, fronted by the man who anchored Weekend Update from 1986 through 1991. I remember the Dennis Miller Show. Dennis Miller Show wasn't bad. It was lacking in several areas, but he had some really good musical guests. He had Robin Hitchcock on one night. He had Dramarama, alternative band. Nobody's going to know who they are. You had Matthew Sweet. You had the Smithereens. Among his most popular SNL bits was the gum-chopping impression of Burt Reynolds, complete with his charming smile, bolo tie, and wise guy attitude, often at hilarious odds with Will Ferrell's Alex Trebek. If his Reynolds was his best, other impressions were nearly on par. MacDonald's roster included Andy Rooney, Clint Eastwood, David Letterman, Larry King, Quentin Tarantino, Mr. Bean, and Rod Serling, among others. MacDonald's departure from the show was controversial itself, and he often attributed his firing to continued lambasting of Simpson as a murderer, despite what he said was the displeasure of Don Ohlmeyer, president of NBC West Coast Division, who MacDonald said was a friend and former football great. After leaving SNL in 1998, MacDonald started his own comedy series, Norm, from 1999 to 2001. I remember Norm. He also did one season talk show for Netflix. Norm MacDonald Has a Show in 2018. He also earned a Cable Ace Award nomination as part of the writing team for the 1992 variety special Free to Laugh, a comedy and musical special for Amnesty International. Over the years, he made numerous appearances on various late-night shows, including Late Night with David Letterman and Conan, and had a recurring role in The Middle. He also released 3 stand-up comedy albums, Ridiculous, Me Doing Stand-Up, and Hitler's Dog, Gossip, and Trickery. The latter taken from a Netflix special. More to come. So, Norm MacDonald, like I said. And the thing about Norm, and Norm actually has a Norm, again, born in Quebec City. Norm's brother was actually a television news anchor in Montreal, I believe. And I remember Norm MacDonald's brother doing the news the night that the province of Quebec voted on their secession, which did not go the way that many Quebecers wanted it to. Can these woke comedians shed their mortal coil like the current Daily Show's lineup name was well, come on. Well, yeah, come on. I'm not a big fan of Bill Burr, but he's probably funnier than most comedians today. Most comedians today don't seem to have a grip on what they want to say. Someone asked me one time, why don't I do political humor? And I'm like, I don't want to make this about me, but I said, well, what people are going to be interested in what I have to say? Come on, I haven't got anything to say. And Norm he really didn't do he did some topical stuff, but I remember, but the thing that we always see on television is that clip of him saying about how David Hasselhoff is a big star in Germany, which proves my theory that Germans love David Hasselhoff. And that's part of the thing. He took an absurd story like that and he made it funny. Dude, David Hasselhoff is popular in Germany as a singer? Who knew? But one of the other things too is that, like I said, Norm was a unique talent. Again, he was a unique talent. He had incredible range, even though he was essentially playing himself. He still had incredible range. So, yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, we are. That comedy's definitely sadder now without him. I'm just wondering what's going to happen with his appearances on as Yaphet on. Yaphet's probably going to be written on the show. Well, Yaphet was only on a handful of episodes on season 1 because Yaphet is incredibly expensive to animate. But the other thing too about, like I said, but he brought incredible life to a character that was a green blob. And that's difficult to do. He made a green blob the best character on a science fiction show. So, I mean, yeah, but holding guitar. Like I said, you wouldn't think that this would be interesting, that this character would be interesting. But yeah, he is. See, and there he finally gets to play himself. How's it going there? Hey, I'm Yaphet. How you doing? And Norm was a guy you never heard a lot of. You never heard anything bad about him. You never heard anything controversial. You never heard any scandal. You never heard nobody had a bad word to say about him, it seems. But I'm sure now that he's no longer with us, somebody will say something bad about him. Oh, but like I said, this is honestly, like I said, who knew? He kept this private. That was his choice to keep this private. And, like I said, what can you say? Which celebrity roast did Norm MacDonald completely go straight laced and reference Marmaduke? Oh God, I remember that. I remember that. God, I remember that. I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I can't remember which one. Of course, this was always one of the funnier bits he did. Was when he was Burt Reynolds on SNL. Again, you knew it was Norm. You knew it was him, but the way he sold it. Turd Ferguson. And actually, somebody did reference that on actual Jeopardy. Because as you know, I'm a big fan, as everybody knows, I'm a big fan of Jeopardy. And he actually did. Somebody actually did reference that on on Jeopardy one night. Yeah, I'm sure that some angry millennial jerks will try to dig up some. Oh yeah. Bob Dole. Bob Dole. Bob Dole's got cigarettes. Bob Dole, that's Bob Dole's chair. Get out of Bob Dole. Bob Dole. I'm Bob Dole. Yeah, Dirty Work is actually one of those underappreciated. Dirty Work is what I call one of those movies that is a near classic. The near classics are movies that star notable people you recognize. A lot of them were made pretty cheaply in the 70s and the early 80s. And it is one of those movies that you can watch and you can rewatch it, rewatch it. They're not great, but there's just something about them. Like I said, Dirty Work is a near classic. Up the Academy is a near classic. Movie called Scavenger Hunt is a near classic. It was a movie called Fooling Around with Gary Busey and Annette O'Toole. And it also stars Tony Randall and Cloris Leachman and Eddie Albert. I think it's Eddie Albert. Yeah, I believe it is. That's a near classic. A lot of these movies get uploaded on YouTube, and because nobody cares about them, maybe the rights have lapsed. That they're just up there. Actually, no. I'm gonna have to seek that out. Yeah, I have no doubt that Norm could be a great interviewer. I have no doubt. Norm could be good at anything. That's the thing. And of course, he's going to be forever immortalized for the millennial generation for this. Of course, this is going to be, I hate to reduce it to this is this GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it. So even if you're not familiar with Norm MacDonald, you millennials out there, you are familiar with this. Little element on this one, but sorry to see a good entertainer go. Yeah. Hans von Butterdutch. Apparently today he had been sick for he was battling cancer for almost a decade. And you have that group there, that little group of SNL from the mid-90s, about 93 to 98, where SNL probably was the best it had been since the late 70s, maybe the mid-80s, where when you had Mike Myers, you had Chris Farley, Norm MacDonald, Kevin Nealon, Tim Meadows. I mean, that's a difficult cast to repeat. Yeah, some people don't want to go public with those diagnoses. But Norm was a funny man. Also agreed. Yeah. Dennis Miller. Yep. Dennis Miller had left the show by then. Yeah, Cha-Cha. But yeah, so like I said, even if you're not familiar with Norm's work, you are familiar with this GIF from Dirty Work. So yeah, Molly Shannon, David Spade, yeah, Dana Carvey. Hey, Steve Botham, we're here actually paying tribute to the life and times of Norm MacDonald. That's no biggie. TNN. It all kind of blends together anyway. But again, like I said, he's a guy that's greater than the sum of his parts, and I don't use that as a pun. Check out his interviews on Howard Stern. Actually, those were great. I'm sure Howard's going to have something to say about this very soon as well. If anybody wants to, like I said, if you the chat, if you want to share your memories of Norm. But yeah, it's just terrible. And like I said, to think that his brother is a very straight-laced newsman in, of all places, in Montreal. Let me see if we can pull up. Neil MacDonald. That's his name. Neil MacDonald. So I'll bring up a picture of him. Pardon me. Like I said, so you can kind of see the family resemblance in this photo here. Yeah, but he was a very prominent newscaster. Yeah, it's just hard to imagine, though. Like I said, it's well, being in front of the camera, you got to be a certain, certain personality type to be in front of a camera. Yeah, you almost have to be from a big family, because that's where a lot of performing comes from. When you're from a big family, you have to get attention, and you get attention by performing. When I was in 8th grade, I had a project where I had to draw a celeb. I chose Norm because he was in a yellow suit with TNT. Thought it was great, even as I was as young as I was. Yeah. You see, like I said, these imbeciles that want to do these. Listen, Seth Meyers is. I like Seth Meyers, but these guys that want to do. Seth Meyers has got the whole news thing down, but these guys that want to do. These guys that want to do the news as part of their comedy act need to look at guys like Jon Stewart. They need to look at guys like Norm. They need to look at guys like Dennis Miller. They need, that is the, guess who I'm in. But that is how I'm a millennial. That's not how I do things. That's not how I do it. Like, no. The way you do things sucks. Okay. There's a reason why you go back and you watch Norm, and you watch him. If you watch those old clips of SNL, they still make you laugh today, even though the news is dated. I used to have a real thing for Courtney Thorne Smith. I did. I always thought she looked a little like Nina Hartley, but that's just me. Too many guys are looking for applause, not laughs. Yeah, well, they're looking for approval, which I think is worse. I think Bruce Lombardo, Rob, you're a fucking legend. Thank you for posting this tribute. Well, like I said, the news really shocked me. So, I mean, and as someone who does stand up, you know what? You take your inspiration from a lot of places. And like I said, Norm was one of those guys that could slide into any role. You knew it was him, but he sold it. You didn't know he was, you knew it was him, but you know what? For that moment, he became Burt Reynolds. He became a green goo alien, Yaphet. He became Bob Dole. So, yeah, he also did a lot of voice work too. Rob, do stick around strong past 100. Do stick around strong past 100? Don't understand that. Do stick around strong past 100. This is not really a comedy club. I'm just doing a little impromptu tribute to Norm MacDonald, who sadly has left us. Get a little drink of water here. We're gonna take a look at his body of work. Like I said, we all know him from Saturday Night Live. We all know him from Dirty Work. We all know him from various places. But let's take a look at his body of work. Bet you there's a few surprises on it. Oh yeah, I'm trying. I'm a big coward. I'm trying. Put my head in a jar. That's what I say. Did you do an SNL where he made fun of Sly's movies? Yeah, I think he did. He was so good at making us uncomfortable. You'd be laughing, but you make an observation. Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, and that's part of comedies, being uncomfortable. You know, like, oh, like I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that's really funny. You know, that's part of comedy. You know, comedy should not be safe. That's the thing. Comedy should not be safe. It should not be sanitized. It should not be harmless. Comedy should be, it always should be pushing. It should be challenging. It should be, you know, there should be something daring about it. So there's Norm. Norm, he looks kind of, he doesn't look well there. It looks a little bloated. I hate saying that. Probably from cancer, probably from some kind of treatments he was on. So, yeah, it's Billy Madison, Dirty Work, Dr. Dolittle, the Mike Tyson Mysteries. That's, you know what? Yeah, that's right. He was on the Mike Tyson Mysteries. Oh, man. I forgot about that. The rant from Duckman about comedy still rings true today. Yes, exactly. Oh, my word. I have been offended. I have been blasphemed. Well, Clint, Mel Brooks once said there's only two things he doesn't make fun of: kids dying and the Holocaust. Everything else is fair game. A little swig of water. Skylanders Academy, don't know that. Orville, Yaphet, Klaus Mogens, Back Home Again. So the middle, yeah, Rusty Heck, Ladybug, Family Guy. He was only in a few episodes. Not actually pretty long run here on Family Guy. Treasure Hounds, Girl Boss, The Ridiculous, Nugget Customer, Real Rob as himself. Sunnyside, The Hole. The Seventh Dwarf, Bernard the Dragon, Vampire Dog. Like, look, pretty Jack and Jill, Fun Bucket, and that was the Adam Sandler movie. Grown Ups, Funny People, Saturday Night Live from 1993 to 2009. My Name is Earl. Dr. Dolittle, Senior Skip Day. Dr. Dolittle, Christmas is Here Again. Farce of the Penguins. Dr. Dolittle 3. Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo. Yeah, he appeared in a lot of movies with a lot of the same people, but you know that was the context he works best with sometimes. A Minute with Stan Hooper. Oh God, that's one of those canceled shows that Peter Griffin liked to reference. Dr. Dolittle, Norm. There's Norm for 2 seasons. The Animal, Screwed, The Drew Carey Show, Man on the Moon, Friday's Michael, uncredited. That's the Andy Kaufman thing. Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, Casper Meets Wendy, uncredited. Dr. Dolittle, Lucky Voice, Dirty Work, Mitch as Norm MacDonald. News Radio, The People versus Larry Flint, Network Reporter, Adam Sandler and Steve Polychronopoulos. Larry Sanders Show as Norm MacDonald. Billy Madison, Frank, The Jackie Thomas Show. He wrote quite a bit of stuff here, too. A lot of TV, SNL. Sports Show, Norm MacDonald. How you doing out there? 9 producer credits. Roseanne. Back to Norm. Additional crew 1. Roseanne. He was on Roseanne. Soundtrack is the Orville. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he sang "I Want to Be Your Boyfriend" on the Orville. That was cool. Hey, little girl, wanna be your boyfriend? Yeah, that would be a good You know, if I could get away with doing a watch party, I would do Dirty Work tonight. You know, if I could get away on YouTube of doing a Dirty Work, probably is my favorite. Yeah, Norm was too good for the Oscars. I hate saying it. Norm was way too good for the Oscars. There you go. There you go. There's the legacy he leaves behind. You know, you can see he doesn't really look that well here. Anyway, the Norm Show is all on YouTube, probably because nobody really wants to put a copyright claim on it. Seinfeld, though, made fun of Schindler's List, but it was more making fun of this character. Well, yeah, it was. They're not making fun of Schindler's List. They're making fun of the fact of people were watching the movie, and Jerry even said it. You know, we didn't actually make out during the Holocaust. It was a movie. We hadn't seen each other in so long. It was a movie. I mean, one thing led to another. Oh yeah, the list. Oh yeah. So that was the thing. I mean, that's the thing. It's, and I always tell people about that. Like I said, you know, part of comedy is doing things that are unexpected, that take the audience by surprise. And Norm did that a lot in stand-up. You think a joke's going one way, and it takes a hard left, and it goes another way. Does YouTube allow playing some of Norm's clips? Well, I'd probably get demonetized, but you know, I'll do that. You know, listen, I'll take the hit. I don't care. Let me see. Yeah, we'll make it transformative. We'll make it transformative. So, so yeah, we'll make it. Yeah, we'll transform it, or we'll play.
Across the Great Plains, harsh weather and now my research has uncovered that Fergie is actually British, not German, which, while not proving, certainly does nothing to disprove my time-tested theory. Germans love, while not.
Here we go. Let's see. We can do this here. Like I said, I'll make it transformative. So we'll stop it every few minutes. So this is from SNL, from about, I don't know when.
Proving certainly does nothing to disprove my time-tested theory. Germans love David Hasselhoff.
See, it's a ridiculous concept on its face. Germans love David Hasselhoff. What the hell are you talking about? Germans love David Hasselhoff.
In St. Louis, archaeologists will use special radar on nearby landfills in an effort to find a 70-foot axle from a Ferris wheel, which was the centerpiece of the 1904 World's Fair.
See, like I said, he's setting it up, and again, great. Sure, it's a running gag, but again, great kind of setup here.
Or so the Germans would have us believe.
Oh, they're coming to get me. The YouTube police are coming to get me. Here they come. They found out. Oh, they found me out. The YouTube police have found me out. They're coming to shut the stream down, everybody. Okay.
And finally, finally, reports out of Germany continue to indicate that David Hasselhoff is a major recording star in that country.
Like I said, who knew that David? Listen, okay, you know the mid to late '90s were nothing like it is today. You know, there was really no internet. There was no, you know, if you really had to look for imported records and everything, who knew? Who knew David Hasselhoff was a huge singing star?
Where his concerts routinely sell out and his albums turn platinum. Which once again proves my old theory, Germans love David Hasselhoff.
Okay. Oh, Lord. Yeah, this stream's probably demonetized. I have to go check. Let me see. I have to check and see if this stream's demonetized. Yeah, it probably is now. So like I said, but we're stopping it for transformative. Stopping stream for transformative purposes. Oh boy. The things I do. You know, but part of it is, again, you know, comedians, again, they don't really get the whole idea behind why things are funny. Norm, I hate to say Norm's a Renaissance man, but Norm got it. Norm, look, you're watching stuff. Norm, he clearly gets it. Hey, you know what? Set it up, knock it down. Set it up, knock it down. Set it up, knock it down. So yeah, so nothing's here. Okay, the copyright doesn't see here. Okay, now play dashboard content. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if this stream is demonetized. Probably. No, I'm surprised. Let's check live. Check the live feed here. No, I'm shocked. Not demonetized yet. No restrictions. So let's keep going. Keep going until we get something.
Germans love you.
Well, love is an awfully strong word.
See?
Here, say this.
Germans love me.
Which once again proves my theory. Germans love David Hasselhoff. And that's the news. See you next time. Thank you, David.
Oh, Norm. There you go. There you go. See what I mean? Guy, like I said, sets it up perfectly, and then sets it up, knocks it down. Sets it up, knocks it down. I swear I could find things more easily with a search 10 years or even back around. Yeah. But again, like I said, there was no, again, who knew that David Hasselhoff was a huge singing star? All because Hasselhoff was invited to tear down the Berlin Wall. Pretty sure Norm mentioned it first. Well, yeah, but that was something that was not really widespread knowledge like it is today. Norm, the comedian for comedians. Yeah. Many pods of comedians say how much they listen to Norm and how you say deconstructed humor. Yeah, so I don't know how much longer. I'll go for a few more minutes here. '90s had Baywatch, Pam Anderson, Gina Lee, hot. Oh yeah. Oh damn it, I miss the '90s. I really do. '90s were a good decade for me. Oh man, they really were. But the other, you're right. You're right. He was the comedian's comedian, and like I said, nobody had a bad word to say about him. You know, I don't want to show the picture of Claire and Yaphet finally getting doing the giggity, but that to me was kind of I don't want to say disturbing. That was something though. Baywatch. What about Baywatch? Michael Miller. What about Baywatch Nights? Remember that one? So yeah, so Norm MacDonald. Oh, we all missed the 90s. I had hair my to my waist and I was in great shape. Women were sexy. Comedy was freaking great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, they're killing comedy. They really are. They really are. This slate of comedians are killing comedy. I don't give a crap that Jim Brewer doesn't want to play any show that has vaccination requirements. I don't give a crap about that. Jim Brewer is a guy who pretends to get high. Okay. Yeah, the 90s were the people were, I mean, we weren't at war. Well, not major war, but we weren't at war. People had money. You know, we had relative peace. We had to do economic expansion. Music was still pretty good. People weren't uptight. We had that whole flirtation with Lilith Fair in the 90s, but that passed. But the other thing too about the 90s is, like I said, people kind of understood where where the pulse of the country was. Well, 91, yeah, we were in war in Iraq at 91, but we got out and we got out though. The majority of the 90s, I mean, there was the war in Bosnia too. Yeah, then the 90s saw the internet boom. There's expansion of technology. You could laugh things off in the 90s, and that was the key. You know, this whole thing about, really is really, does it really matter if there's a black guy in Star Wars? Oh, well, we could worry about more than one. We could be worried about more than one thing at a time. I'm like, well, yeah, but what we're worried about doesn't fix anything. Yeah, Mike Cat, we got Milosevic. That was the other thing. My buddy Jimmy was in he fought at Kosovo. He fought in that war. But like I said, the 90s, it was an era that, like I said, we could laugh at ourselves. We could laugh at nobody got pissed off. You can call it privilege, but I just prefer to think of it as we were just a bit more laid back. And Norm fit into that era very nicely, that laid back era. He had that laid back style. And the other thing, I mean, and the comedy that came out of the 90s actually still, like, apart from a lot of the dated references, but a lot of the comedy still is relatable today. A lot of comedians would still be relevant today. I hate using that word, relevant. But the whole thing about, again, you look at what comedians are doing now, and you look at, millennial comedy has failed. It has failed miserably. Millennial comedy is an oxymoron. And you look at a guy like Norm, I'm like, the guy, he came up in the 80s and 90s, and like I said, he really knew how to put a joke together. He knew his craft. And it's sad that kind of attention to detail, that kind of diligence, that kind of, craftsmanship in the world of comedy is slowly disappearing. That's actually good. Comedians are breaking ground to bury humor 6 feet deep. Yeah. Humor just got that much more dull and PC. So long, Norm. We'll never see his kind again. Yeah, that's true. Well, you know what it is? Listen, I don't want to get too political, but I can't remember who said it, but Trump made a lot of bad comedians rich. He did. He made a lot of bad comedians rich. Hey, how about that Trump? Hey, how about that guy? Oh boy, what a lousy president, am I right? Well, okay, what else you got? Millennials might be know-it-alls, some of them, yeah. Well, yeah, they're narcissistic. There's a narcissism there. I love Norm. He had a laid-back, dry style, but he hit the punchline with a pop of quick energy. Yeah, and couldn't help laughing at him. Well, the Olympics in the 90s were better. Yeah, we still had some people. The Russians were still formidable. I always say the Olympics hasn't been the same since the end of the Cold War. Who am I going to hate now? Iceland? Not a knock on Iceland. 90s porn was good. 80s porn was good. It really is sad. So I think we're going to wrap up here in another minute or two. But like I said, let's all just remember Norm. Go watch SNL, watch Dirty Work. Go watch Scrooge. I mean, go watch Billy Madison. I mean, Norm has a tremendous. Go watch his show Norm. Go watch his Netflix specials. The Orville, because like I said, guys like him are few and far between. And it really is. I mean, it's going to leave a hole in the comedy world. That's going to be very, very difficult to fill. Yeah, that's my appearance. Trump has directed dying comedians. Yeah, good point with talentless. Yes. Seems like rage humor for politics comedy now. Barely laughing head. Yeah, no one's clever about it. Norm killed the political commentary weekend. Yeah. And Norm could do the political stuff too. He was very adept at it. He was very adroit, as I don't get to say that word very often. I may do a tribute to Norm MacDonald, but I don't know. I have to sit down and write one. But the other thing too is, like I said, there's a comedian, and I've told this story before. There's a comedian named Hannah Gadsby. Now, I told this story before. I think I told it on Jesse Milestone stream. I told this story before. Hannah Gadsby. This shows you what the comedy's about these days. She had a Netflix special called Nanette. Now, she's from Australia. She's an out lesbian. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but she's an out lesbian. And she tells this story about how she was at a party and she was hitting on this girl. And the girl's boyfriend found out. And she says, oh, yeah, that guy's hitting on you. And she said, oh, yeah, well, she's not a guy. She's it's a woman. She's a lesbian. Oh, and then the guy went outside and physically assaulted her, which is a horrible thing to happen. But she tells this story on stage. And the audience freezes. And I'm asking myself, all right, what was the point of that story? Was it to shock the audience? Was it to shield yourself from any criticism? Now, I don't understand the choice in that. And it's a horrific thing to happen, but I don't, and I'm not saying that I don't sympathize with her. Nobody should have that done to them, regardless, of their, because of their sexual preference, sexual identity, whatever. But that choice you made on stage had me scratching my head. And that's where we kind of are with comedy. We don't really know why. You have a lot of people who say they're comedians. They really don't understand something like that and why it wouldn't be, it wouldn't work. Oh yeah, just tell them, oh yeah, I'm going to do this shocking thing, and then everybody's going to laugh at everything else. Like, no, I don't think I don't think it works. I don't think it works. I really, really don't think that worked. And like I said, I don't think it was a good choice. Shock humor with no laughs, no punchline, no joke, just a horror story. Yeah. Actually, you know what? As much shit as I give Trevor Noah, there was one funny little story he told. He said, he was never really considered black when he was in Africa. And then he comes to New York, and then he's saying, I'm from Africa. I'm super. And then he comes to New York, and everybody thinks he's Puerto Rican. I'm like, okay, that's kind of clever. Okay. Hans von Butterdutch, there really was no punchline to that. There really was no punchline. She told the story. It ended with her saying, yeah, he went outside, he beat the tar out of me. I'm like, oh my God. And I said, what is the point of this? Again, is it to shock the audience so that everything else you say is funny? Or are you trying to use it as a shield? Are you trying to put up a shield between you and the audience for a shield from criticism? I really don't understand it. And again, that's where we are. I mean, yeah, okay, like I said, a lot of listen, and Rodney Dangerfield once said, comedy is often derived from pain. But there's a difference between pain and suffering. I mean, yeah, pain. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be that comedy is one you have to, shock the audience. Not shock the audience, but you shouldn't have to. Yeah, part of it is making the audience sometimes, like, there's humor and awkwardness. And Norm could do a lot of sometimes the awkward humor, and that was good. But part of it is, okay, I've set up this brick wall for myself. The audience slams face first into the brick wall, and where does it go from there? And like I said, that was just an unusual choice, and I really don't get it. So if I say I burned myself cooking, is that a joke? Well, actually, it's a joke. Yeah, I burned myself cooking the other day, so let that be a lesson to you. Never fry bacon nude, okay, people? See, that's a joke. So I dare not look at what the Twitterati twat waffles had to say about Norm's. I would stay away from that. I would stay away from that. Trevor Noah saying America to be a critic of America. He can go back to wherever. But there's a difference between being a critic of him. Listen, you could be critical of America from a place that, and I've often said that if I were host of The Daily Show, my head would probably explode. I'd probably have a stroke within a month. Because for me, it would be from a place of, we are supposed to be better than this. This should not be happening in this country. How can we allow this to happen in this country? All Trevor Noah does is sit there and goes, the Americans are so stupid. Why are Americans so stupid? And I adorable. Please love me. I've muted my mic. I burned myself cooking now. Let there be a lesson. Never cook bacon nude, people. Of course, I did it with the stove consented beforehand. So that makes it okay. We don't send the shitty American comics to their lands to criticize them. Maybe. In 2011, when I was in Denmark, I did see an ad for Bill Burr. He was appearing. The only joke, no punchline, is absurdist humor. We don't even have Monty Python. Auntie Donna's pretty decent though. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, dead air. Yeah, I muted my mic and I forgot to unmute it. So listen, we're coming up on 1 hour, everybody. So like I said, again, sad news today. We are going to remember Norm for all the good times, the good laughs he gave us. And, he's going to keep giving us laughs too. I mean, we still have season 3 of The Orville. And you can go back and rewatch and hopefully some stuff you'll discover for the first time. Right now is where I sing Paul Anka's Times of Your Life, but we'll get a copyright claim. Good morning, yesterday. You wake up, time has slipped away. That's as much as I'm going to do. So, Chef MAD, thank you for joining us. So, everyone, thank you for joining us on this tribute to Norm MacDonald. Everyone, go out, enjoy Dirty Work, enjoy his show Norm, enjoy his HBO specials, his Netflix specials. Enjoy the old clips of him on SNL. And sadly, Norm, you have left us too soon. We thank you for all the laughs you've given us, the laughs you will give us. And hopefully you're sharing a stage now with Sam and Rodney, Mitch Hedberg and George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and Lenny Bruce, and all the greats in that great comedy club in the sky. So Norm, till we meet again. This is Rob Robot Shlomo. I want to say to everybody, thank you for joining us in this tribute to Norm MacDonald. And we will see you next time. Everybody, be safe. Take care of each other. Patrice O'Neill again. That's right, Patrice O'Neill. Everybody, be safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we're coming up on, and men, get yourself screened. Get yourself checked out. It's important. Everybody, we'll catch you next time.